Maka's Guides.
Hey guys, Maka here with completed episode number 76. We're going to try to keep this one short and sweet, and the game we're talking about today is Resident Evil 7. If you haven't caught a previous completed episode, we just take a few minutes to talk about a game that I recently completed. I tell you guys about my thoughts about the achievements and trophies and about some other cool information, so let's just get started. I wanted to make sure this video was completely spoiler free, so the gameplay is actually from the first 5 minutes of the game, so I'm not actually going to be showing myself completing it, although feel free to check my profile if you don't believe me. I started the game on January 24th and finished it on February 6th, taking me about 2 weeks, and I played it for roughly 25 hours, which is roughly what most people will put into this game to get the full 1000 Gamerscore or Platinum Trophy. There's a total of 37 achievements for you to attain, plus a Platinum Trophy if you're playing on PlayStation, and you'll have to play the game many times in a variety of different ways, and for me that meant 4 different playthroughs, although I know people who did 5 or even 6. You'll start off by playing through the game and getting most of the collectibles, then trying to do a 4-hour or less speed run, then playing the game on the hardest difficulty, which is called Madhouse, and then you'll probably need to do a 4th run where you mop up other achievements. Like for example, my last achievement was for completing the game using only 3 or less medkits. With all that being said, for the achievement or trophy difficulty, I'm only going to give this game a 6 out of 10. The hardest thing you're probably going to need to do is be able to beat the game on Madhouse difficulty, and if you play your cards right, it's really not that bad. My run took me about 7 hours, but I honestly didn't have too much trouble, especially if you bring in some of the items you unlock from your earlier playthroughs. They'll allow you to basically get infinite blocking and not take damage, which makes a lot of the game a breeze, and you even get some new weapons that you don't get to have in your first playthrough to carry through the Madhouse difficulty, which again makes it a breeze. Some of the other achievements that might seem like they're really hard are the speedrunning one, where you have to beat the game in under 4 hours, but it's actually really easy to beat the game in under 3 hours if you know what you're doing and you have all the solutions to the puzzles. Again, there's another one for getting 3 or less medkits, which sounds really difficult. However, you're allowed to kind of use your saves if you die. You're allowed to pick up steroids, which help increase your max health. You can have some perks that make you take no damage when you block, which makes the game a breeze. Pair that with the infinite ammo that you unlock after Madhouse difficulty, and I personally spedrun the game in 3 hours using 1 medkit and only died 1 time. Again, the achievement or trophy difficulty is honestly not that hard as long as you're good enough to get through the Madhouse difficulty, which again isn't really that hard. Next up, we have the fun factor. I'm giving this game an 8.5 out of 10, the best game I've played in 2017 so far, and the best Resident Evil I've played in a very long time. Capcom did a really good job on this one. They reinvented the series, completely changed it, but it still feels like Resident Evil. During my first playthrough, I also felt very tense and I got really into the game. The sound direction is really good. The performances of the Baker family and Mia are also very good. The levels are designed well, the pacing is good, and the total package is very satisfying. Everything you want in a horror game is here. Another thing I really liked was the replayability. None of my playthroughs felt the same. During my first playthrough, I felt vulnerable, I was solving puzzles, things were scaring me and creeping me out, I didn't know what I was doing, but during my second playthrough, I felt like a little bit of a superhero. I knew where everything was, I knew where I could find ammo, I knew where enemies would spawn and how they would attack me, and I was able to completely breeze through the game in only a couple of hours. Then came my third playthrough on Madhouse, and again, it was completely different. This time I felt more vulnerable than ever, but for different reasons. The game became more about saving my ammo, managing my inventory, managing my save slots, and making sure I didn't die. Even though the game is quite short, it is one of the most replayable single-player experiences I've come across in recent years. Obviously, the game's not perfect. If I had to nitpick, I think the character you play, Ethan, has terrible dialogue, and I think some of the aiming could use a little bit of work. But overall, this is an easy recommendation for anyone who's into or thinking about being into the horror genre. If you're a little bit of a scaredy cat, which is totally okay, and horror games aren't your thing, then this game's probably not going to change your mind. And that's about it for my video, guys. I highly recommend this game. The achievements and trophies aren't really that bad. Let me know in the comments down below if you have the 1000 or the platinum trophy. If you're interested in the game, I have included an Amazon purchase page link in the description. I've also included a link to my most anticipated games of 2017, as I talked about this game before it was out. I've included the xboxachievements.com forum page, the True Achievements game page, as well as my own personal guides. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Special thanks to Drop Dead Artemis, as well as Darth Dave 89 for supporting the show on Patreon, and hopefully I see you guys next time. Peace.